I am making mistakes, so many mistakes. And that is where I'm learning the most. You have to take that leap of faith. That is the most important part. Hello, sweet earthlings, and welcome back to Inviolable Bee, where we heal the collective with compassion. Today, I am doing art. So I'm interested in kind of doing like a sip and paint type of thing, but instead of just drinking tea and painting, I'm going to be talking, drinking tea and painting. So I have my tea, I have my art book, whatever you want to call it, what are they actually called? I forget right now. And I've got all of my art supplies here on this shelf. And I'm going to talk about something that is kind of very much related to art, which is the concept of not aiming for mastery in basically anything that you do. I know we want to get better, and that is actually the point, but getting away from the idea that we should ever fully master a topic or fully be perfect at something. So first I'm gonna pull some creative inspiration for art doing, and then I'll get to talking. I'm feeling like painting with colors today. So I will paint with colors, and I have stickers as well. Right off the bat, I really like this blue and green sticker. This is so cute, these little stickers, oh my gosh. So something that we've been taught and told in school is that we have to completely master our understanding of a topic before we can be tested on it. So the harder you study for an exam, the better grade you get, the more you've mastered the information, the closer you are to a perfect 100. And there is a sense of perfection in that, in the sense that the better you are at something and the more that you know it and the more you've practiced it, the better you will do whenever you are tested on it. We do this in our own lives by testing ourselves in the things that we say about ourselves and the things that we share about ourselves with other people, and also the habits that we allow ourselves to keep and expand upon. So I know in my own life, I have a tendency to shy away from doing things until I'm perfect at it. So I'm actually just starting a crochet project, and it's taken me a long time to actually keep up the habit of crocheting, because before I would just kind of start something and it would be a little messy and I'd be like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And I didn't really realize that that's what I was doing mentally, but I was definitely expecting myself to have this sense of each stitch needs to be perfect and look even and neat, and it is satisfying to see, but it's not realistic for me as a beginner crocheter to fulfill all of those requirements. So now I am consistently working towards finishing a sweater by Christmas, and it is uneven, it is janky, it is lumpy, but it will be a beautiful sweater because I made it and because I committed to myself and allowed myself to finish something as a beginner. I also do this with my habits as well. I know for me, meditation has been something that I will start and stop and start and stop, because I will do it for a couple days, I'll fall back away from it, and I'll be like, well, it's just not for me. It's just not something that I am able to keep up with. I'm not good at it. And also it's just an excuse because it's a really hard thing to do, and it's a really easy way for me to shy away from the responsibility of maintaining that as a habit in my life, which is something I tell myself is important to me. And this could be any habit in your own life. It could be writing or journaling, or if you're starting a book or making an album or whatever it may be, showing up for yourself in those ways every day can be really difficult, especially if we're expecting ourselves to achieve a certain level of perfection from the beginning.
And whenever we place this level of expectation onto ourselves, we don't ever give ourselves the chance to improve. We stop before we start and never allow ourselves the opportunity to get better.
And this also happens in the things that I choose to share with other people about myself. So whatever I've attached to my personality is kind of what I do for work, and then maybe a couple of things that I do for fun on a regular basis. But a lot of the things that I enjoy, I don't really do on a regular basis, in part because I don't come back to them often enough, because I have such high expectations for myself, and in part because even if it is something I do consistently, it is not something I consider myself good enough at to be able to tell other people that I do it. For example, I love writing, I love journaling, I love words and making random poems. Even if I never write them down, I just say them out loud to myself, and I don't share that with people. I don't say that that is something that I do because I don't consider myself qualified or good enough at it to be able to say that I do it.
Also, for me, it feels unfair to say like I'm a writer because it feels like I'm invalidating people who actually put a lot of time and energy into the pursuit of writing and getting better at writing. I just do it for fun. So that's a difference, but I think that a lot of us have things that we would love to say that we do that we don't share because we don't think that they're worth sharing. And that is the point I'm trying to get at.
With this sense of that we've kind of carried over from, I guess, school, and also just cultural teachings and expectations and standards from the rest of our society that we exist in, contrary to that, we will never stop learning. There is never going to be a point where we are like, yep, I've perfected that. Like, that is just, like, saying that out loud now is just a ridiculous thing to expect ourselves to ever achieve in any part of our lives. And something else that is kind of like, I don't know, like, this could be motivating or demotivating depending on how you look at it, but we are never really, like, ever better than we ever were. There's a past version of you who is worse at the skill than you are, and there's a future version of you who is better at the skill than you are. So really, like, relative to all of your other selves, like, you're kind of in the same place, but there is a sense of improvement.
And this is motivating for me because it takes away this idea that there's a finish line at the end of something, especially with skills like these that you're going to be doing in the long term. It takes the pressure off of yourself to have to achieve something or get somewhere. This is not what these kinds of skills are meant for. These are meant to be channels for you to express yourself in the long term. And so rather than viewing them as a means of achievement, it now becomes something I just get to enjoy and do because I like it.
And something else we do is we also tend to put off starting projects or investments, whether it's a personal investment in your time or an investment in your business. We put these things off because we're waiting until we've gotten good enough at something else to be able to think we have the skill set and the knowledge to start the next thing. But really, you can integrate and incorporate both of these things together, and they'll strengthen each other as you're working on both of them.
And I do encourage educating yourself before you start something. If you're trying to start a small business, or like I said before, trying to produce an album or a book or a poem, I promote researching about the topic that you're interested in or about the thing that you're interested in striving towards. But this is very different from expecting ourselves to have a complete and thorough understanding of, for example, everything you need to know about stocks before you make your first investment. There's just no way for you to be able to understand all of that information. So the best way to do it is to just throw yourself in there after you know a little bit, but just to allow yourself to try. And then starting with that foundational level of knowledge gives you the space to know and understand where you should start for the skill or for the habit you're applying. And as you practice and implement that skill or habit, you will know what more you need to learn outside of the doing that will inform then how you need to apply it in the future. So they're able to strengthen each other as you go along, and you don't have to understand everything before you start.
So I'm learning a second language. I'm learning Spanish right now. I've been kind of like on and off practicing for about a year, and I keep like getting better and then being like no, and then like getting better and then being like no, and so I'm just in this back and forth cycle. But for a long time, I like would not speak with other people in Spanish. I would stop myself from like asking native speakers like, do you speak Spanish? Can we practice? Because I was too afraid of making a mistake. I was too afraid of messing up, of not understanding, of having that like language barrier and struggling. But the best way to learn anything, and this goes especially for second languages, but for anything else, whether you're playing an instrument or learning financial investments or creating friendships or baking, like anything, you will find the biggest payout and the biggest payoff if you are applying the skill as you go. You have to take that leap of faith. That is the most important part. With language learning, I now find myself having the courage to be like, do you speak Spanish? Can you practice with me? I am making mistakes, so many mistakes, and that is where I'm learning the most. So all of this is just to say that we deserve to have courage and strength in our present selves, what we're capable of, and know that we're just starting out, and even if we're not, there's still always so much to learn. I think this is really about like having a beginner's mindset in everything that you do, and knowing that you will always be growing in some way or another, and you will always be finding new ways to apply the skill, new ways to apply the habit, and you will only find those things if you set yourself on that path of improvement by practicing as you're learning. So my camera died, and that is unfortunate, but thankfully I have my audio recording, so if nothing else, please remember to just start your project. Tell people that you like to do what you like to do simply because you enjoy it. You don't have to be perfect at it to tell people that you like to do it. You don't have to be perfect at it to start doing it. So write your book, write your journal entry, share it online, speak with other people in your second language, make so many mistakes along the way, and learn so much, because that is the most fulfilling part of being alive. And appreciate your growth so fully along the way. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what resonated for you or how you've seen this show up in your own life. I'm very interested to hear your own experiences, and I will see you in a future video. Bye!